Live.
We are live.
Live. It says that.
It's,
We're so fancy. Like
all
hard to
right.
see. Live.
Live in real time. Okay, I'll kick this off. So everybody, welcome to the Inspire View series. My name is Cherrise Boucher of CherriseBoucher.com, and I'm a transformational life mentor. I felt inspired to put together this series of interviews and introductions to different people from around the world because I think it's so massively important for every single person out there to incorporate something they are passionate about into their lives. When you weave something into your life that really lights you up and excites you, your soul thanks you for listening. You find that stress is reduced, relationships improve, overall improvements in your well-being. The inspiring people that I'm going to introduce to you in this series are just like you. They've overcome obstacles, they've experienced life in all its aspects, and they've incorporated their passions into their lives. They'll share some insights and tips that they've found most useful to them throughout their lives that have helped them to get to where they are now. I'm so glad you're joining us on this journey to nurture the spark that feeds the fire of your passion. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to this fantastic and motivational woman who gives you permission to do life and business your way. She partners with brand new coaches to help them discover their coaching brilliance, explore niches, and get clarity and confidence in their coaching skills. Together, they design mini experiments, which I love. So I'm super happy to introduce you to JJ Carolan. Hi, JJ.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I love what you said. Your soul thanks you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it does because you feel it. You
uh-huh.
feel amped up and everything when you're doing something you enjoy.
Absolutely. And your soul thanks you, and then your soul also lets you like get past the hard stuff. Like
Right.
when you have that passion in your life, like the hard stuff isn't as hard, or you're more willing to hustle, or more willing to get over yourself to do the thing that you're just, overridingly passionate about.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And
Yeah.
even if you get to those little obstacles, you're just like, you know what? I freaking love to do this. So I'm just going to plow through.
Yeah, you're like, I just have to serve this passion. It's bigger than me.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, JJ, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey that led you to becoming a coach's coach?
Sure. Well, it's a long and winding road. I guess so. Anyone who's listening, permission to have a long and winding road.
Yeah.
You know. And I would say that I became a certified life coach a couple of years ago. I had been informally coaching in my prior industry. I'm a board certified behavior analyst as well as a life coach, and I had been coaching and mentoring other behavior analysts informally, as well as the families that I was working with, and really trying to help motivate and inspire them and find the answers within themselves rather than having this expert coming into their homes telling them how to raise their kids, anything. So then I decided to make it official, and I became a life coach after my daughter was born. And I started out in all kinds of niche, however you want to say it, serving all
Yeah.
kinds of people. People who were creative, people who were moms, people who were about to be moms, people who wanted to discover their top values, and I just kind of followed all of these different, if I thought that the values assessment tool was something that was life-changing for me, then I went out and offered a program about it. Or if I had, rediscovered my love of photography, well, then I launched this thing called Creative Resurrection and coached other people to rediscover their creativity. So kind of whatever I was doing at the moment, I just launched a thing, and people who resonated with it. And that was fun. And I was making money, and that was, great. Felt really good, to cross the money barrier.
Right, right.
And then as I started to do that, coaches started to come to me and ask how I was doing that. So then I started just helping people for free, just, well, I did this, and I did that, and I did this. And then I kind of realized my whole body of work in my life has been about coaching and entrepreneurship. I've had a lot of businesses. I've had other online businesses that have been successful. So I thought, this is a thing that I love. It's really like my zone of genius is to take big ideas and turn them into something, but also to my other zone of genius is staying in that field of playfulness and not getting so like attached to like I'm going to do this teleclass and what if 20 people only sign up and it's a failure, you know, just like doing things to do them, and I'm good at that. I'm good at not getting bogged down by my inner critic and all this stuff. So I paired the two of those and started helping new coaches, and I've been doing that for the last couple years, and then we'll see where that goes. It could change at any moment, but that's how I came to be here, and it's been really wonderful. It's been awesome to help people get their messages out there. I have a client whose message is all about freedom through forgiveness. I have a client who's all about holistic living, and so, you know, I have all these great platforms that I'm helping get out there. It's so awesome.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
And I like that you just, there was a coach that I was interacting with who said something that really resonated with me, and it sounds like that's what you do. Instead of, you know, putting all your all into one program or whatever and like stressing over the launching of it, to think of it as a paper airplane and send it out there. And if it flies, great. And if it doesn't fly, then pick it up and tweak it and send it out there again. So totally. I liked that concept so much better than the birthing thing, which just sounds horrendous to me. So I have a block around the birthing of a project because it's just like, oh, who wants to do that?
Yeah, I mean, especially if we've already birthed children. Like, who wants to birth anything else? Right. Yeah, and some projects beg to be birthed, and some come simply. It's like the Creative Resurrection project I did a couple years ago. That was a birthing. That was like an unstoppable morning to night creative process to serve, and there were 8 people in that group, and it was just a pay what you can thing. But that came with like writing. I couldn't stop writing about what we were doing and materials and videos. It was just so like, and I was exhausted at the end of it, but it was transformative, like massively. And then I have like other things coming up that are just easier and more like the paper airplane and more like people call and say, can I work with you? And I say, sure. That's why not? So it's like some things just beg to be birthed, but you hope you don't have to do that too many times in a year.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but sometimes sometimes passion doesn't allow balance. Like sometimes it just is all consuming, and then sometimes it's like a slow burning ember that you can, you know, sustain.
Yeah, just nurture it so that until it takes off, you know. Why do you think that people don't take time to explore more before they start creating their programs or copy or anything?
Yeah, well, one, I think passion drives you, right? So it's natural. You know how your life was changed, and especially if you're a coach and you went to coaching school maybe, and you know what happened for you, and you're just so eager, you know, to do that thing, that you just jump into creating something without checking if the market wants it first. So it's natural. I think it's totally natural to want to express. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are creative, and so we want to express through our businesses and through creating our programs and creating our copy and our websites, and it's just a natural creative extension. So then there's this business side, which is market research, and we skip it a lot because it's not so fun. It's not so creative. You know, checking in with people and finding out nobody wants what we have is like, meh. Not so fun. I also think, so that's one thing, it's just a creative, natural thing. And then I also, the second I walked into coaching school, it was like, get a niche, get a niche, get a niche. You're going to fail. It was like this really like overwhelming advice was like, if you don't have a niche, your business will fail. And I think that is ultimately true, but in the beginning you have to find the right niche, and that's where that period of exploration should come in, where, you know, I gave myself the freedom of 6 months to a year to just try out all those different things and see who resonated with me and who I resonated with, and I continue to do that as an ongoing, you know, like I said, my motto is sort of like reserve the right to take a left turn.
Right.
And so I think that conventional wisdom really pressures people into saying, I work with women between the ages of 30 and 50 who, you know, whatever, but before really having that experience underneath them to know that that's who they work with and who works with them, because we may know who we want to work with, but that demographic might not resonate with us. So I think those two things kind of come into play.
Right. I've heard somebody say that before too. He thought that his market would be more a mix of men and women and everything, and he ended up finding that it was mostly women, like 40 to 60, who
Ah.
were attracted to him. So you don't know, I guess, until you do it. You just get out there, launch that paper airplane, and go. And see.
Yeah, and I do think that while launching the paper airplanes, it helps to be specific. So, like when I launched the Creative Resurrection program, I definitely said, this is for people who had creativity in their past and miss it. You know, I was very
Right.
specific about that. And when I launched, there was another program I did around finding, like, reinvigorating passion in your life, and I was very specific about who that was for, because otherwise these little paper airplanes don't go anywhere. But it doesn't mean I was married to it for the next, 6 months. I was married to it for the duration of that program.
Right. Do people ever resurface that you find that want that? And then do you incorporate things that you've done in the past as maybe another offer, like another program that they could purchase digitally or things like that?
Good question. I don't have any passive, there's no such thing as passive, but I don't have any passive revenue streams right now, because I really feel in my line of work, if it's going to be transformational, there's got to be interaction, and I haven't nailed down like an informational thing or an inspirational thing that I would feel confident that people could read and be inspired, or read and learn something. Someday I hope to nail one of those down, but I have, like, I have tried not to cross the same river twice, and that is probably not conventionally a good idea. But the only river I've crossed twice is the Coaches Playground. It's my mastermind for new coaches. I did it last year, and I'm doing it again right now. But it's not even the same. Last time it was 3 months. This time it's 6 months. I have a really hard time stepping back into the same waters, although recently I really wanted to run that creativity program again, because it was pretty awesome.
So it might be a sort of a cyclical
It
thing
might,
that
yeah. I
comes
think it has
back
to go.
around.
If I'm feeling creative, then I can run it. If I'm, feeling in a more businessy place, I can't run it. So it really depends where I'm at, which is a difficult way to run a business.
Well,
I will admit
yes
that.
and no, but we've seen plenty of people out there that are unconventional and thrive, and their businesses thrive, and the people that are drawn to them thrive. So, it may not be a conventional route, but certainly can take off either way.
Yeah, that's that. So far, it's worked for me, and it's made me happy. And if I'm not happy running this business, then I'd rather go back to work.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
be happy with a steady paycheck that's the same number every 2 weeks, So.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. So that kind of leads me into how has living your passion and what makes you happy affected your life personally? Like, have you noticed any specific things in your life that have improved by doing this?
Yeah, my physical energy level, overall, when I don't have to come home from a 9 to 5 and have nothing left for my family, so I have a much more sustained energy level. I take much better care of myself during the day, because I'm able to follow my own rhythms and eat when I need to eat, and I start my morning, in creativity. I started by writing and meditating, and so my well-being overall is so much better. And then I look forward to my work. Like, I look forward to it, and I also am allowed to pause it when I'm not looking forward to it, which is a great thing, because I don't know what it is in my makeup. I'm like psychologically unemployable. Like, I'm unable to serve when I'm not inspired. So it's a great way for me to be able to take a pause and take a few days away and figure out where my inspiration is gone, and then come back to it later. So I think everybody in my life is happier.
Yeah.
I'm definitely. Not that it doesn't come with its stuff. I mean, you sit at home and you're trying to work with a sink full of dishes, and your family left the house like a complete mess the night before, and you're like, this is my office!
Yeah.
It's not like it's without its challenges, but I wouldn't trade it for the whole wide world. I mean, my daughter's home on spring break, and I'm with her, which is great. I'm pregnant right now, so when I'm feeling...
Oh, yay.
I'm at the stage where I feel horrible, so I can just I can pause. I don't have to push through. It's just such a different experience of life.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, I still work full time while building my business and everything
Yeah.
on the side, and I'm definitely happier when I'm doing what I'm passionate about.
Right?
It gets you excited. It's a different. The people around you can tell because your energy is just at a higher level when
Yeah.
you're passionate about something, and it's totally like a lot of people can't do or what they're passionate about full time yet, maybe,
Right.
so that's why I feel it's so important to even sprinkle it in
Yeah.
somehow, into
Yes.
into your life, because it gives such a release and a little bit of relief from everyday
Yeah.
things.
It does, and I think when I was working full-time and building my businesses, any one of them, I remember feeling more able to tolerate the full-time, and I always actually loved my work. I was working with kids with autism, and I was helping families create educational programs in their home and help kids get out into the community. So I always liked and loved my work. Anyway, I was lucky that way, but when it became like it's an intense job in the fact of it can be many, many hours a week, and there's always, I would get home really, really late, and I had my own daughter, but I wouldn't get home till 8 o'clock, and stuff like that. But it felt like in service of my passion. Like I knew it was feeding my ability to get to the weekend and do the thing I was passionate about, or so I didn't mind it as much. I didn't mind the hardship of that job as much because it was in service of my passion. And then and even when my passion didn't revolve around building a business, but like even when I was in service of just surrendering to like I'd like to read 20 books this year, or
Right,
like
yeah.
I have photography I would love to do, or I really wanted to create like a photojournalism series or whatever, and none of that was for work, but just having your life in like surrendering to those passions too, it just makes everything so much more. You just see it all through a different lens.
Right, right. And if you're feeling stressed out about something, you're just like, I'm just going to read, or
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to paint, or I'm just going to walk around and take photographs. It
Totally.
just it kind of grounds you, brings you back into a calmer state. And then you can go back to what frustrates you with less frustration.
It's like the difference between eating junk food and eating food that feeds you.
Right, right.
Whether you're making
Exactly.
a living from that passion or not, it just fuels your whole life.
It does. I totally agree. So I'm sure you've felt this way because everybody I've talked to has. At some point, have you ever felt afraid or doubtful about,
Sure.
excuse me, your career, or like throwing in the towel and ditching your dream?
Yeah.
And if so, how do you get through that?
Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer in safety nets, so I never like quit my job and went for it, or followed any of that, like kind of follow your passion, because I don't think that fear is a good place to build a passion. Then your passion gets taken over by fear instead of being built from love. So even today, I make sure I have a few consulting jobs that are, business development. I have a business development job with an agency that I still help them, do their expansion and everything like that, just so that I'm always stable in some way. So I really believe in creating stability, especially if it's a high value. I can't live in an unstable way. It creates so much fear that my passion just is drained. So I think how I've always gotten past that is having a safety net.
Hmm.
And I'm a big, big believer in safety nets, especially when you're going to embark on like anything scary, like whether you're going to go tightrope walking for the first time, or you're going to, quit your job, have a really good savings and a plan B. And, I think that those safety nets allow us to create from love and from that place of connection with the universe, and not from that place of like, crap, if I don't launch this program, I'm not going to pay my bills. And like that's unless you're forced into that situation, it's a hard way to do it. So I say, like, I made sure I tapered down my work. Like I went to part-time, and then I went to less part-time, and then I went to consulting for that agency because they valued me, and I still keep that consulting relationship open when I need it. And just being diversified in that way. Like, it's okay to not have all your eggs in one basket if it allows you to feel safe and secure if those are important to you. Some people can live out on that edge. I can't. I have a family. I mean, I could, but I would be like not sleeping ever.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I've got 2 children too, so there's that whole, definitely you have to have the safety net thing.
Yeah.
I feel. And some people just jump, you know,
Yeah.
they just do, and I'm like, whoa, how do you do?
Yeah, how do you do that, right? And if you're going to just jump, you probably have a better comfort level with having instability, right? And B, what's the plan? Like, have a plan B. Have a plan B, please, because then you burn out. You know, you don't want to feel like you don't want to feel that burnout. You don't want to like let your passion become something you hate, which I've seen happen a lot.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a stress trigger, and and that would probably put kind of a pause on exploring other passions.
Totally.
Because you're going to think, oh, well, the last time that happened,
Yes. Yeah.
I stressed out and then I hated it, and I
Yeah.
don't want to hate something else again that I enjoy.
Totally. You get that belief like wired in you because, you know, when your basic survival is so threatened, right? It's like you kind of don't get over that easily, you know. So I think bridge jobs are a great thing. I think it's good to have, even if it's a job you don't care about, that's easy, that allows you to serve your passion. I think part-time work is a great thing while you're building. I mean, I think the myth of the online business myth is like, you can make $1 million in 6 months. And like realistically, if you want to build something you love, it can take 3 to 5 years to make it a sustainable, real thing. It can. And no, I don't think anyone's saying that. I'm not sure why, but you know, putting out that expectation of like, get a bridge job, get some work under you. Like, don't abandon your industry if it's a good one. If you're in an industry already that's serving you and you can tolerate, like, maybe there's ways to work that and straddle both sides of the fence, you know. So, you know, there's ways to make your life work, I think, that allow you to serve in a non-fearful way. And then if you're going to leap, make sure you have some really good fear management strategies in place.
Right. Yeah, and I see that too out there. People try something and they don't get results fast enough, and then you compare yourself to the other people who are doing what you want to do, and they seem all successful and they've got their shit together, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't see how many years it took them to get there, or how many times they revamped what they're doing or tweaked things, or you don't know the backstory. You think they're successful right now and they're making this, you know, 6-figure business that everybody's talking about, but it could have taken them 10 years to get there.
Yeah.
So people, I think, get short-sighted and feel like whatever they're passionate about isn't what other people want, but you have to give it some time and really nurture it to get it out there.
Yeah, and like you said with the airplane, you know, try it, tweak it, try it, tweak it, you know, see when it hits, and you know when it does, it becomes easeful when it hits.
Right.
Yeah, but I think being sensible about approaching, you know, if you want to make a living out of your passion, is just to be sensible about it too, and then you don't have to be afraid.
Right. So could you share a tip or strategy that you personally use, maybe daily, weekly, monthly, or only during special situations, whatever, that you'd like to share with other people that's really worked for you?
In terms of
anything. Do you do something that reduces stress on a daily basis, or do you you know, if you're at a particular point of stuckness, maybe even, that you use some sort of technique or a strategy or something that you find super useful that you think others would find useful too?
Yes, tacking. Yeah, I don't know if you sail or you know from sailing. I don't really either, but when I was little, I took sailing lessons, and I remember this great word called tacking, which is when you're sailing, you have to tack. You have to zigzag. You don't sail in a straight line. You zigzag because that allows you to capture the wind or whatever. So when I am stuck, uninspired, I tack, and I drop everything and I go to a completely different area of development. So if I'm stuck in my business, I drop business for a couple days and I focus on being in nature or reading or writing or other things, my daughter, I focus on other areas of my life completely. Because if I'm stuck, it usually means the well is dry in some way. Because you can't be megalomaniac about it, or you you suck it dry, right? So tacking is probably my best strategy for everything. Burnout, stuckness, fear, the whole kit and caboodle is just let the wind take you in a different direction for a couple days, and I almost inevitably come back feeling restored and ready to come back and serve my passion. And it's something sometimes I'll say to my clients, your coach prescribes you 3 days off.
Yeah.
There's no other way around this. There's no inner work around this. You're burnt out, you're tired, you're exhausted, and you've sucked the bone dry. You 3 days off. You're not allowed to touch Facebook, no work. And I think the other thing that helps me regularly is that I am not in 1,000 Facebook groups. I don't get 1,000 things in my inbox. I have a special inbox that is for newsletters and everything like that I can go through and just pick the ones that I'm interested in. I don't subscribe to anybody who's in the same industry as me. I just don't. I just put the blinders on and I don't look at what anybody else is doing. And I support them, and I am in collaboration with a lot of people who do the same thing as me, like Jo Casey. I think she's fabulous. She works with new coaches. We help each other. But I don't get her newsletter. She probably doesn't get mine. But we're in each other's Facebook groups, I think. But I really try to stay in my own tunnel as much as I can, only checking in when I know I'm strong enough not to get pulled into what everybody else is doing and everybody else's supposed success and this and that, because it's so easy, in a weak point to do that. So I think those are my two things: tack and stay out of it. Just stay out of the whole online world as much as you can, except for when you need it.
Yeah, I agree. I find myself not really intentionally always, but sometimes just going on social media diet, and I just kind of stay out for a while, because sometimes you just need that break. Let's just focus on me for a little while and see where that goes.
Absolutely. And it's really hard to hear your own voice when there are so many other competing voices. If you're in a place where, like you said, comparison can bring you down or things can trigger your fear. So unless you're in a really strong place where those voices don't influence your own, and in the beginning of setting up a business or serving your passion, that can be hard to tune those out. I mean, it's a muscle. So I think for me, it's really served me to just, kind of keep my head down and do what I feel is right, conventional or not.
Yeah, I love it. I love those tips. I'm going to intentionally tack sometimes.
Yeah, it feels good. Watch people when they sail. You'll see exactly what I mean. The wind fills the sail, and all of a sudden they're off in this other direction, but they're still getting to the same point. But you sail like this, and I just think it's brilliant. You still get there.
I love that. I love that analogy.
If you don't tack, you end up way off. You can't go straight in sailing if you don't tack. So it's fun. All I remember from sailing, I got hit with the boom a lot. I wasn't a very good sailor, but I did like that tacking thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I never even knew that. So I learned something new today.
Yeah, you're by water. Are you by water?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see it now.
Yeah, and actually where we're going hiking this afternoon, we'll be right there on a river, so I'll pay attention, see if there's any sailboats that go by. Yeah. So you have a free gift for people watching this series, and I'd like you to tell everybody. Yeah, it's
I did that.
The experience checklist.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to set that up for you guys. I'm pregnant. I've forgotten everything. Yes, I would love your people to have that. So I'm totally going to set it up on my website for you guys. It'll be at carolan.com, and you guys you'll have a navigational tab that says Inspire View, and right under there you'll be able to sign up for it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you for reminding me to do that. But it's a really
for it. So,
Yeah, it's a cool thing because I'll send you the link because it's like just a checklist, but it's like a bazillion ideas of how to get your message out there without it having to be like a 12-week program or some big commitment. So when you're trialing out like, oh, I want to try this specialty or I want to try this niche, you don't have to commit to a huge undertaking. You could like do a teleclass or you could like do a 5-day Facebook book group or something. So it's just like a list of ways to try out stuff without it having to be a big commitment item.
yeah, that's
I'll get
great.
that up.
Very useful. And everybody will be able to find that link. If you've already signed up for the series, then you've got that link to the Passion Base, and all of the guests are there with their free gifts. So JJ's link and her little bio will be there too, link to her website. And to this checklist that she's going to make sure she gets there.
I will get it there. I will get it there. Will you call me when this is over and tell me how to get it there? I'm so sorry. I'll tell you, this pregnancy took us for a whoop, like, wow, that's happening. So we've been a little bit like, whoa, what are we doing in that mode? So sorry.
No, that's totally okay. I understand. I have 2 of my own. So, of course, they're much older now. So it's nice. They're independent, 16 and 12.
Yeah.
So don't see them too much now.
Oh, that sounds like I look forward to and dread that at the same time.
Yeah, it's a little mix of both. Yeah.
Yeah. I know we when my daughter went to kindergarten, it was like the best thing that ever happened to our family life. It was like she matured in a great way. She learned great life lessons we couldn't teach her at home. We had some free time. I could build my business without feeling like my attention was split. And then I miss her too.
Right, yeah. But then she gets her life experiences. She has stories to tell and share. And yeah, it's great. It's great to watch them grow.
It is. It is.
Okay, well, let's close it up so that we can get along with our busy days. But I'm really inspired by your story and how you've been really flexible with everything that you've done in your career, and I'm glad that you shared that with everybody, because I think sometimes people just get their blinders on, and then that's the only way they feel they can go. Yeah. And it's nice to know that you can explore other things and not get so, control freak about something.
Yeah, I think I'm going in a whole different direction for the end of the year. It's like a totally different. So
there we go.
Fine. I have an aunt that used to say, flexibility is the cornerstone of mental stability.
Oh, that's very nice.
Brilliant thing I ever heard. Yeah. I love that you're doing this series because it's just so, I remember, and to this day, it's just so helpful to hear other people going through the same things, other people who are it's just nice not to be alone in the journey as an entrepreneur or as someone who's following a passion, and so it's great you're doing this series. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy meeting everybody and hearing. And it helps me because, we all go through those same things, and I think that's what's so great about sharing everybody's stories is you like you said, you're not alone in it. Everybody feels the same way, and then it's resources for everybody to pull from, because if somebody resonates with what one of my guests is saying, they can certainly reach out to them, and it's perfect match,
Yeah, it's awesome. It's good you're doing it.
Well, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for joining me in this, and maybe we'll connect again towards the end of the year so that you can share whatever your next left turn is going to be.
Yeah, I have a big left turn in me somewhere. Well, besides the baby, but
besides the baby.
Yeah. I mean, I love coaching, right? So I love business coaching, but I also love coaching. So I always want to keep my hand in coaching, life coaching. So, yeah, I think I have a big thing coming up on that in the end of the year.
Oh, good. Very good. Put all that positive, creative energy out there.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This is fun.
Thank you very much for coming by.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye.